So let's talk more about your prescriptions. I want to hear more about what you propose, even the lefty stuff. I want to hear all of it.
Sure. So there is a war going on in the lefty circles right now between proponents of a jobs guarantee and proponents of a universal basic income.
Oh boy.
They,
Okay. Yeah.
they both have really powerful arguments against each other in my view. And I think the only way that we can solve those problems is by using them together. So of having a federal jobs guarantee program where uh, in the event of a recession, the federal government guarantees a job to anyone who wants one, who for a certain minimal level of income, uh, that is designed specifically to be countercyclical and also to not compete with the private market. People say, what are these jobs? They can be everything from a big gardener to producing video content for the internet. People have talked about this endlessly. Also, instituting a universal basic income would provide people with more leverage inside of the job market. So I think what people don't understand about a universal basic income is the idea is not just that you have like this basement of like the lowest level of money you can earn and you can still pay rent or whatever, but it's also because we know right now part of the problem, the reason we have such a yawning inequality from top to bottom, the reason that we have this huge inequality problem is people at the bottom don't have negotiating leverage with their employers. Even under the prior to the COVID collapse, we had very low unemployment. We weren't seeing real wage growth, and so there's a sense in that the applicant, the job holder, the employee just lacks a certain degree of leverage with their employer. And one of the things that universal basic income does is say, okay, I have the wherewithal to say, you know what, I'm not going to do your job for $11 an hour. I'll do it for $13.50, but I won't do it for $11 an hour. And I have the ability to fall back on this universal basic income if I have to. And so in both situations that you're creating worker power, which to me is, I come from a more old school sort of lefty thing, which is that redistribution is fine as it goes. Taking money from the top and giving it to the bottom is fine as it goes, but that's never been the point of the left-wing project, right? The left-wing project is to empower the people in the bottom classes so that they can then secure their own interests.
Oh yeah.
It's pity charity liberalism, where you're just giving people money for things, leaves them less empowered rather than more empowered. It makes them more dependent. And so these kind of programs are programs that strengthen the hand of the lower classes so that they can secure their own portion of the pie. And they also do so whether or not you have a college diploma. One of the things I think that the colleges are really suffering from having students in the system who don't belong there. So when I taught at the University of Rhode Island, I had a kid who, and he's hardly my only student to say this, but I would talk to him about why he was struggling in the class. He just said, I don't want to be here. And I said, well, why are you here? College is voluntary. And he said, well, my dad's a fisherman. It's not exactly a growth industry, right? Like where's he going to go to be a fisherman like his dad in Rhode Island, perennially threatened class of people. In other words, his vision of what life without a college diploma looks like is a dying industry. And so naturally he feels compelled to go to college. I think there are thousands of kids who would rather be anywhere else, but feel like going to college is the thing you have to do. And I think it's bad for the schools, and I think it's bad for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the UBI, I have always been favorable toward, so long as it doesn't bankrupt the country and create a worldwide depression. And I mean that seriously. Like I actually want it to work. I hope it works. So I'm like, I favor it, but then I hear from all my libertarian friends that I'm a complete idiot for thinking this because it's going to destroy the economy and make things worse. And they might very well be right because they know a lot more about economics than I do, generally speaking. And I just haven't done the research. I haven't done the numbers. I don't know of Yang's program, what it would actually do, whatever. But I love left-wing politics is always utopian. For that matter, politics is generally, there's a utopian aspect in most politics, right? So that's fine. So we're talking about utopias. Who I doubt will ever pass a UBI, but if we did, I wouldn't be upset about it if the left I like that the left is behind the UBI
Mm-hmm.
because there are no strings attached to the damn thing, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the idea of it. In other words, everybody gets a check in the mail, no matter what they do, no matter what they are, no matter who they are, nothing, right? They just get a check in the mail. That's the end of the story, right? As opposed to traditional welfare, as we all know, which comes with all kinds of social workers coming into your fucking bedroom and asking you how many people you've had sex with in the last week.
Right.
Thank you.
And it typically costs, I mean, like with food stamp benefits, the majority of the price to society of food stamps is the enforcement mechanism to make sure that the means testing is working, not the actual benefit. It actually costs us more to make sure that people who are on food stamps are really poor than it does to give out the food stamps, which seems inefficient to me.
If it's all means tested, which it is, welfare, it requires a whole bunch of basically cops, which is what social workers are, by the way, who work for the state to enforce this stuff. Yeah, it's horrific. And I think it's made poor people, and in particular, disproportionately black people, as we all know, I say this, wards of the state. So, I mean, I've said this before, but like poor people and many of them are black people, but it doesn't matter to me. You know, poor people in this country, they wake up in the morning and they wake up in public housing.
Yeah.
Then the kid goes to school in a public school, government school. And then on the way home, they get hassled by the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get home, their mom is talking to the social worker who is asking the mom questions about the groceries she bought and the men she slept with and how many children she's had, and et cetera, et cetera. And then the kid, when he graduates, commits a crime and goes to prison.
Yeah.
And so if that's not a ward of the state, I don't know what is. And so the old welfare system has got to go. I like UBI a whole lot, I mean, infinitely better because it has none of those strings. Now, so that was a really encouraging thing for me to see going on the left, broadly speaking. Okay, the federal jobs or the jobs guarantee, I gotta say, it is horrifying because it's horrifying to me that the left takes that up as a cause, although I'm not surprised by it. But I think there is a fairly big contradiction in that if you're a lefty these days, because what we're talking about is the government of the United States of America as it is currently constituted, right? Or the states, the state governments as they are currently constituted, being the employer. And lefties know all about the power of employers over their workers, right?
Right.
Being the employer of the poorest, most vulnerable, marginalized people in this country. So talk about wards of the state. Now, if they get out of prison, that kid I talked about, he'll be lucky to work for Uncle Sam. Now, that's not my idea of utopia. That is my idea of kind of a sort of a soft totalitarian system. I hate the idea of poor kids from Appalachia or poor kids from Compton working for the government. And in fact, by the way, that is in large part what happened with the black working class, after World War II, right? That's how humongous percentage of the black working class went into government work, meaning like working for the post office. Just a huge number of African Americans have worked in civil service jobs for the government beginning after World War II. And that was basically the way that instead of welfare, that's what the government did for decades. And so they got a place. African Americans got this really fundamental. That's why the DMVs and the post offices are all full of black people working there, right? And that's why, we have, you go to like a government office, welfare offices, it's all black people, often women working there. That was the government's way of keeping them alive in a sense, without giving them welfare. But so I don't know, man.
I'm not going to do a defense of JG Justice. There are some serious people who are really into it. I will say that they tend to be deeply invested in these concepts of the dignity of work and stuff like that, which I don't give a shit about personally. Gross. But I mean, the thing is it has to be genuinely useful work, because if you're just doing a make work program, you might as well just give them the money, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
But yeah, but it's a big debate, and so I hedge my bets in the book. I try not to fall too far on one side or the other.
All right.
I mean, school wise, I just talk about loosening standards, dramatically changing, the the Common Core is the exact opposite of what we want.
Totally.
One of the things that makes me laugh is that
sorry, real quick. You know who invented the Common Core, the idea?
it's a conservative, right?
Oh, it's deeper than that. There's a person who actually invented that whole concept. Irving Kristol
Right. Yeah.
is a neocon. The neocon.
Right.
He actually came, but they invented that idea. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, what drives me insane is that the biggest cliche in education talk, like if you like read the think tanks, which anyway, I won't get into the education think tank racket, but
it's interesting.
if you listen to the think tanks, the people always talk about the need for dynamism and innovation in education. A set of narrow standards is the absolute opposite of innovation and dynamism. Is literally the opposite, right? Teachers can't be dynamic and innovative in their classes if they're operating under the Common Core, because the Common Core is the opposite of innovation and dynamism.
Of course.
Look, like the Common Core presumes that every student is the same student. It presumes that every student will benefit the same from the same program, and we know that to be untrue. I would say just empirically, we know that to be untrue. So that's another one of my big hobby horses.
Yeah, the daughter of Haitian immigrants in Miami needs the same curriculum as the son of Bill Gates in Seattle or something. I mean, that's the assumption, right? It's like, what are we talking about here? But it's worse than that, right? Kristol's vision was to create a common national culture. That was the essay that Common Core came out of. I think it was even called that. Yeah. Common national culture. Ugh.
Which is not,
no. You want to talk about something that might sound like fascism, or a really bad capital C communism, one or the other. But it's the worst form of nationalism, so it's disgusting in every way. So the neocons invented the idea, Bush instituted it, and then Obama and Joe Biden, everybody, with Race to the Top, simply ramped it up.
Yeah.
Let's repeat that. I haven't even forgot about that crime of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway,
so, what else you got?
So you can read it all about it in the Cult of Smart. It's you should pick it up. Available wherever books are sold. August 4th is coming out. So everybody home, check it out. Decide for yourself.
You have persuaded me to fully endorse this book. Everybody should read this book. Definitely. I love your arguments, man. I love your arguments. Yeah. Even the piece I didn't totally love. The overall thing is great. What a great intervention.